Before starting the heel exercise, I highly recommend you do some focus work first. Now, all you need to do is put a lead and collar on the dog and start walking with him. You can constantly pat the dog on the side of the face so the dog looks up at you. When the dog starts to walk one way, you turn around the opposite way, giving him a very small correction so he starts to look for you all the time. You can also utilize food and a tennis ball to help the dog look up at you. And when he does, a lot of praise. Continue this and you'll find you'll have the dog's undivided attention wherever you go. I start Roxy off in the sit position, and in this case I'm using food to develop a really good attitude and strong focus. Look how happy she is. She's got a big grin from ear to ear, her tail is up and she's really enjoying herself. I'll start to set the pace a little bit and I'm constantly praising the dog, and look at the focus that she's giving me at the moment. I'm not going to correct her, but if she makes a bit of a mistake, I'll just guide her around like that. And now she's back in line again. And I'll bring the food down close to her face so she's always looking at me, and this means that she'll rarely make a mistake. Now this time I turn and she goes a tiny bit too wide, so next time I'll bring the food down closer to her face. Just have a look at this and see how she goes. There, no correction. Once the dog has developed good focus, you're now ready to start the heel exercise. Heel actually means for the dog to walk beside you, and when you stop, the dog to stop with you. Place the dog in the sit position beside you, say the word heel, and immediately heel off with your left foot first. If the dog walks beside you, constantly praise him by saying good, heel, and even touching him on the side of the face. Now if the dog starts to edge forward, you can give him a very small correction back and say the word heel again. Now if the dog keeps going forward, you may want to turn around the opposite way and give him a little correction so the dog is always looking to see where you're going. Continue this and you'll have the dog heeling in no time. Again, I'm using food to develop the focus on the dog, and I'm using this in all the turns. Perhaps you can even use a toy if that's more suitable for your dog. Now, every time I turn, I say the word heel and bring the food down close to the dog's face. Watch what happens here. I'm saying the word heel, I'll bring the food down, and the dog turns by herself. When teaching the automatic sit, have the dog sitting down at your left-hand side before you start. Now, automatic sit means that when you're heeling, every time you stop, the dog must sit down at your side by herself with no command. Now, to start off with this, we're going to show her how to do this by just guiding her into the sit position and also saying the word sit. Now, as she gets better at this, then we can fade out the showing her how to sit and just use the word sit when you stop. And the final stage is stopping without saying any command, and the dog automatically sits beside you. Let's see how this works. Now I start off with heeling the dog, press down the hindquarters, pull up on the check chain and say the word sit. Now I do about 4 or 5 of these in a row, and I must do this continuously until the dog understands what the word sit means. Every time the dog does sit, I give her a lot of praise, and once she understands it completely, then I can start reinforcing the exercise. But remember, keep the praise up all the time. And now for the drop command. Now the drop or down command means that you say the word down or drop and the dog lays down beside you. Now to start off with, we teach the dog the word down plus a hand signal. But we're going to see how she goes here. Now what I recommend is that hold the lead about here, and you can pull that down to the ground just gently, but you can also get the dog to look towards the ground, and you can do that by rubbing the dog on the nose. Now let's have a look and see how she goes. Hey, Roxy, Roxy, down, down. There, oh, good girl, good girl. That's a good girl. And a lot of praise straight after she goes down, so she knows that she's done a really good job. Good girl. Now bring her back around and let's do that again. Good girl. Okay, she's placed in the sit position. Good girl. Now what I'll do, I'll give her the command and I'll just rub her nose so she's looking towards the ground. Down. Good girl, and see the immediate praise. Good fella. Now if the dog is in the down position here and tries to get up into the sit, then you can replace her in the down. Now just try and get her excited so she makes a bit of a mistake here. Good fella, aren't you? Down, down. Good girl, good fella. She gets up again, down. Good girl. and she gets up again. Now I'm going to do it again because this is the learning process. Good boy. Ready? Down. That's a good girl. Now, by doing this over and over, you'll develop a good attitude. Now, you can see she is a submissive dog, but she's got a grin from ear to ear. She's happy. So there was no form of correction there, but we managed to get the dog down there, and we're constantly praising her to let her know she's done very well. Once a dog can go down on voice and hand signal, you can then drop out the hand signal and use voice only. Now, the next stage on the down is that once you are very clear that the dog understands a down, you can give the dog the command down while in the standing position, and the moment the dog doesn't go down, you can give it just a little correction to make her go down. And I'll just show you what that looks like. Hey, come on, little fella. Good girl. Aren't you a good fella? Roxy, Roxy, hey, Roxy, down. Good girl, good girl. And just a little correction. It doesn't have to be hard, just has to be a nice soft one, just to cause a little bit of discomfort so she thinks, well, I better go down. And try that, but always make sure you praise her and always keep that good attitude. And later on in the show, we're going to get on to doing some exercises around a lot of stimuli so the dog can perform all the exercises no matter where you are. Good girl, Roxy. When teaching your dog to stay, it's important to have the dog sitting down at your left-hand side like Roxy is. Always stand with your feet facing forward and have the dog on your left-hand side. Now, you command the dog to stay and also give a hand signal in front of the dog's face like so. Now, the next step is that you walk off with your right foot first. This acts as a second silent command. And you only stand about a foot in front of the dog and praise the dog when she's staying. So let's give her a go. She hasn't learnt to stay yet. She doesn't know what it means. So this is the first stage of training. Roxy, stay. Good girl. Aren't you a good state? Now I'm praising her and telling her she's a good girl, but if she goes to break, then what I'll do, I'll use a word which is an attention-seeking word like ah, and then repeat the command stay. If she does get up, then I will place her back into the sit position again. Now she stayed there long enough now, I step back into the heel position, good girl, and immediate praise to keep that really good attitude. Now let's do it again. Stay. Stay. Good girl. Aren't you a good stay? Now, she hasn't broken yet. She's doing quite good. Good stay. You're a good stay. I'll just put a little bit of pressure on there. You're a good... Ah, sit. Sit. Good girl. Now, she went down on the word stay. Ah, sit. Good fella. It's okay. Good stay. Ah, sit. Good fella. You're a good fella. And she made a couple of mistakes there, but that's perfectly natural in the learning phase. Let's try it one more time. Stay. Good girl. Good stay. Good stay. That is a good girl. And now let's try it to the full length of the lead. Stay. Ah, sit. Good girl. Now notice how I didn't have to correct her. I just said ah, and the dog went down to the sit again. Stay. Good stay. Stay. Roxy, stay. Good stay. Good stay. Now I'm using the praise word good as well as a command word stay, so we're repeating it several times and it will speed up the process of her learning what that command means. Good stay. Now this time I'm going to return around the back of her. Now if you just walk around the back, a lot of the dogs will spin around and follow you. So what I do is I touch the dog on this side of the head as I walk around the side there and then immediately praise. A lot of dogs, when you do this, you walk this way and the dogs will actually get up and follow you around it in a circle. Good fella. So she's in the sit again. Good fella. Stay. Walk off the right. Ah, sit. Place her back down into the sit. Good girl. Stay. Good stay. 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 And I'll just give her another little pat here. You're a good girl. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. Stay. Now this must be repeated about 2 sessions a day. Roxy, sit. Sit. Come on. Good girl. Stay. About 2 or 3 sessions a day, no more than say 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and you'll find that in about 7 days you'll have that dog sitting and staying at the end of a 6-foot lead, and she must be 100% there, not only in a quiet place like we are at the moment, but also in public areas where there's a lot of distractions which will cause her to want to get up. Now when she's 100% there, then you can start telling her to stay off the lead. Give it a go and you'll have her staying within 7 days. Isn't that right, Roxy? You're a good girl.